Hello guys, Amy Wood here. We're getting ready for our newscast tonight. We are thinking about the families, 2 of them already, going through a funeral today, more funerals over the weekend, and tomorrow State Senator Clementa Pinckney will be laid to rest in South Carolina. It's been a really awful week, and we're getting ready for our show. We don't even have the lights on yet. We're getting ready to turn those on. I guess somebody's going to come down here and turn the lights on. We're 6 minutes away from the show, in the dark. And we are lifting up Charleston, South Carolina, and all these families in our prayers. There's been a lot of cool, uniting moments. It's been quite the inspiration, really, to see how Charleston has responded to such a horrible thing. But it's nice to see you here. Thanks for joining us behind the scenes. Our newscast, again, will be starting in less than 5 minutes. I'm logging into my iPad. See the light? See the light? And here come the lights.
Let there be light.
Wait for it. Look at that. Light. Bring on the lights. Whoa. Okay. So now we're ready for a TV show. Thanks, Ash. All right, so let me make sure I can hear my producers and stuff. Hello, can you guys can hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Oh, Sandra's not in there yet. Okay. So we're following developments in Charleston closely. We have a crew, actually 2 crews that are there. We're going to carry the funeral live on WSPA.com tomorrow. I'm going to be anchoring it along with our morning anchor, Fred Cunningham. I'm going to be back here about 9:30, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Our coverage will begin about 10:45, and the funeral is expected to last through about 2 o'clock, maybe longer. So it could be up to a 4-hour funeral. So it's going to be a really amazing thing. I think it's going to be something to watch. And if you can't be home, then set a DVR, or I don't know if you have any way to set recordings on your computer. You could try to do that. Our shows are, well, I don't know. Is everything that goes out of A control, even like that special, like the funeral, will that all be on our live stream thing, or is it just the shows?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I don't really know if it'll be on there as a recording to watch later. There's a picture tonight. Let me show you on my Facebook page. Let me show you this really quick. The wife of Clementa Pinckney, who was in the building. She was in her husband's office while this Bible study was going on, according to the Post and Courier, and she and her daughter, a young child, were in this office, and they started to hear the bullets. They then locked the doors. Gunmen apparently never knew they were there. Called 911, but can you imagine your husband, your father, gunned down in the next room? You heard the gunshots. Then I'm sure they went in and saw what had happened. I mean, your heart just breaks. But she tonight, look at this. Talk about a strong person. Hold on. Oh my gosh, how am I not seeing this? Hang on. She went out there in the streets tonight, and she has been hugging people. Look at this. She's been out there in front of the church. The visitation's been tonight at church, and she's been hugging people. The other cool thing they did at this visitation, he's a preacher. He's a state senator, but he's also a preacher of this church. He's the pastor, or he was. And in the casket tonight, as he was laying there for all of his folks to come see him, he had a microphone in his hand. And we saw it from a distance, and then we took a closer look on our live camera feed and noticed that, indeed, he had a microphone in his hand. So in a way, he's still preaching. It's pretty powerful. He was very much a peace-loving guy. Lawmakers would say that he never had a crossword, never would engage in a fight. He would just kind of let things roll, but he was not a contentious person. And they admired him for it, you know? He was a peacemaker. So it's kind of sad to lose somebody like that. And for his family, I can only imagine how difficult this is. All right, so we are now 2 minutes out from the show, getting ready to start. So we're going to be kind of recapping what's happened today, which there have already been 2 funerals today. There was the visitation for Senator and Reverend Pinckney tonight. There have been some other ancillary developments all day. There's a guy named Glenn McConnell who was part of the Confederate flag compromise in 2000 who totally switched his position. He was a huge flag supporter, and he agreed with the governor today that it needs to come off State House grounds. That's kind of a big deal in South Carolina for him to switch his position. He's a Confederate reenactor. He does all the, the reenactment Civil War stuff, and so it's just quite a change. He's now the College of Charleston president, which is where the funeral will take place tomorrow. All right, so we're coming back in 15 seconds. The show starts. Stand by. Thanks for joining us tonight. Behind the scenes. The parishioners at Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston began the process of saying goodbye to their pastor. The body of Senator Clementa Pinckney was returned to his church after lying in state in Columbia. The police motorcade and families of all 9 church shooting victims walked in behind the casket. Hundreds of mourners spent hours in line paying their respects. They came from all over the country, public officials, strangers, and pilgrims who say they felt they just had to be there. Wow. And one of the most touching things that you really couldn't see that was not apparent maybe to you if you were watching the live stream tonight was the pastor had a microphone in his hand in that casket. Family and friends gathered today remembering 2 of the women who were also killed in this church shooting. Funeral services for Reverend Sharonda Coleman Singleton were held at Mount Moriah Missionary Baptist Church in North Charleston today. Coleman Singleton was a speech therapist, a high school track coach. Her son described her as a God-fearing woman who loved everybody with all her heart. Friends and family also said goodbye to Ethel Lance today. Her family is saying that before she was killed last week, she was enjoying her retirement. She left working at Charleston's Galliard Auditorium in 2002 after dedicating 34 years to the performing arts. Tonight, we saw a picture online of doves being released at her burial. Over the weekend, family members will also hold more funeral services for 5 of the other Emanuel AME church shooting victims. A funeral will be held on Saturday for the librarian, Cynthia Hurd. Also on Saturday, a double funeral taking place for the oldest victim, 87-year-old Susie Jackson, and her nephew, Tawanza Sanders. On Sunday, funeral services will be held for Reverend DePayne Middleton Doctor. Myra Thompson's funeral will take place on Monday. And a family member is telling us that funeral arrangements are still pending for Reverend Daniel Simmons, Sr. As many of you know, there is a fund that is set up for the victims of the Charleston shooting. So far, more than $650,000 has been donated. Now, if you would like to get involved and help out, the information to do so is on your screen tonight. It's Mother Emanuel Hope Fund, care of the City of Charleston. The post office box is 304. It's Charleston, South Carolina. Zip code 29402. You can also use your cell phone to text in a donation. All you do is text Pray for Charleston to the number that's on your screen right there. It's 843-606-5995. The family of the man who admitted to opening fire on Emanuel AME Church last week is speaking out tonight. Dylan Roof's family members released a statement saying, in part, that they understand many people have questions about what happened, and they say they will do their best to answer those questions as more information becomes available. In the meantime, the family members say they would like to take time to recognize the 9 people killed in the attacks and allow their families time to grieve. Roof's family says, we feel it would be appropriate to not to say anything at this time other than that we are truly sorry for their loss. As state political business leaders all continue to show support for the removal of the Confederate flag from the State House lawn in Columbia, The swell is growing. It's exposing how attitudes have kind of shifted in the state in a really short amount of time. 7 on Your Side's Addie Hampton spoke to a leader who put his political reputation on the line over the flag last year. Today, he says he's just as committed to getting it down as he was then. Thank you for joining us. Sorry, I'm looking over scripts. I was working on the funeral preparations for tomorrow, and so I have not gotten to look at all my scripts, so I'm trying to catch up. Did he say Confederate?
Yeah.
Welcome to my world. Do you guys have opinions on the Confederate flag in this room? You're welcome to share your opinions. If you tweet them, I'll see them, but I can't watch the chat because you're far away. Sorry. Hey, Kenneth. This week, the South Carolina House of Representatives opened the doors to debate the flag's removal. That move would require a 2/3 vote in both the House and the Senate. The Sons of Confederate Veterans Commander in South Carolina was at the State House today defending the flying of the Confederate flag there. Leland Summers says the flag had nothing to do with the murders in Charleston. Photos of suspect Dylan Roof show he had a Confederate license plate on the front of his car. He said the group will fight the removal of the Confederate flag, but he did not say exactly what the plans are. He said the group would not answer questions or give any more statements until next week, out of respect for the victims and their families, since, of course, the funerals just started today. Happening tomorrow, thousands of us are going to be wearing blue and white to show our support for the Charleston victims and their families. At Extreme Tees in Simpsonville, they're trying to keep up with demand for these blue and white T-shirts. The shirts are being sold